If you've run with a decent group, you've probably heard, how many negates do we have tonight? And if not, it's probably because they already created a fully comped roster with players assigned to run negate. This ultimate is powerful as it silences enemies. Importantly, it stops opponent healers from healing. When one ball group wipes another ball group, the wipe often occurs because of the strategic deployment of negates. Healers have access to high ultimate generation, so here I'll show you how to build a sorcerer healer that focuses on generating negate after negate, so your group can dominate the battlefield. For attributes, aim for 30 to 31k health and put the rest into Magicka. While more health would be ideal, we need to make sure our Magicka bar is the dominant resource for the Pearls of Ehlnofey mythic we're going to use. We'll gain our survivability in other ways I'll cover later. You can play around with attributes, but make sure your Magicka is your dominant resource. Be aware of Wardens in your group as they increase your max health by 10%. The front bar restoration staff should have Radiating Regeneration, Exhilarating Drain, Flare both for protection and sustain, Vibrant Shroud, and Healing Springs. The front bar ultimate is Barrier for sustain. While the goal is to not cast it, you could if needed, as you'll be generating ult so quickly you'll have the negate back soon. The back bar dagger and shield skills are Streak, Hurricane for major resolve, Flare for the protection and sustain. I know it seems unusual to double bar Flare, but this is necessary to add survivability and sustain to the build. Hardened Ward, Bound Aegis for the passive mag increase. The ultimate, of course, is Negate, specifically the Absorption Field Morph as we're a healer. The gear is focused on generating ultimate and getting the negate back as fast as possible. This healer is built around Pearls of Ehlnofey for ultimate generation, so slot that first as your necklace. The monster helm is Ozazen for the extra resistances. If this set is already in comp, another monster set your group needs could be put here. Or you could split the monster sets and just stack one piece resistance on the head and a separate one piece resistance on shoulders. One piece heavy and one piece light for the weight. Ideally make the head heavy. The two 5-piece sets are Arcasis and Eye of the Grasp for ultimate generation. We're going to mix up their body and jewelry weapon positions to take advantage of the fact that Arcasis is heavy armor. The goal is to have two Arcasis heavy body pieces and the rest of the body pieces are light Eye of the Grasp. Put Arcasis on the chest and legs as these bigger gear pieces have a bigger armor effect. The rest of the body pieces are Eye of the Grasp light armor. We complete the Eye of the Grasp set on our front bar by making it the Restoration Staff. Make the two rings Arcasis. On the back bar, we complete Arcasis with one shield and we make the Dagger Trainee set as it has a one-piece increased health effect. Trait your Resto Staff Decisive for even more ultimate generation and put an Absorb Magicka enchant on it. Trait your Dagger Defending and your shield reinforced with Max Mag and Absorb Stam enchants. The body pieces should be all reinforced. I experimented with Impen but had worse results with it personally. Use Max Magicka enchants on all the body pieces. We want a large Magicka bar to help maintain the Pearl's proc condition. Jewelry is all infused with reduced spell cost enchants, which tends to perform better with Pearls versus Mag Regen enchants. You could make the Jewelry Arcane if you're having trouble making your Magicka bar the dominant resource, but sustain is not great on this build, so infused cost reduction is ideal. The flex set of this build is Eye of the Grasp. You can change this to another set if your group needs something specific from the healer, but Eye of the Grasp is definitely the more toxic option as you'll have your negate up faster. I'd suggest Gossamer or Transmutation to help with survivability if you want to drop Eye of the Grasp. Transformative Hope could also work here or whatever your group needs. Use the Atronach Mundus for more sustain. I wish I could put the Lady for resistances, but mag sustain is too rough on this build. It needs the Atronach. Blue slottables are Arcane Supremacy, Duelist Rebuff, Ironclad, and Resilience. Feel free to experiment with them, but I suggest keeping Arcane Supremacy to help with Pearls. Red slottables are Boundless Vitality, Pain's Refuge, Rejuvenation, and Celerity. You can definitely play around with these if you want. For green slottables, Steed's Blessing, Gifted Rider, War Mount, and Liquid Efficiency, which will help us save money on the really expensive potions the build will need. You need to run ultimate potions, aka heroism potions with this build, which unfortunately are insanely expensive. We want the ones that restore mag, stam, and give minor heroism. If you have a Warden running Gardener of the Season set in your group, you may be able to drop these potions for resistance pots. Also, after the Gold Road chapter releases in June, it appears the devs intend to give minor heroism via some of the new scribing skills, so you may be able to take advantage of that instead of lighting your wallet on fire. The buff food is Arteum pickled fish. We need a large Magicka bar and a boost to our health. You'll be able to play whatever race you want. Nord, Imperial, Breton, and Argonian will probably give the best results though. As you can see, I'm a cat cheat because I'm a role player. Vampirism Stage 3 for the Undeath passive is needed. Also, Vampirism gives us access to Exhilarating Drain, which generates tons of ultimate for us. How to use this build. Keep your Magicka below 50% at all times when your Negate is down so that Pearls constantly proc. Keep your heal over time skills or haunts up so that Pearls have heals to proc off of. There's a bit of a rotation to this build you can follow where you get the crit damage on your front bar. Just look for the damage number with the exclamation point, those are the crits. And then since Eye of the Grasp will be on cooldown, use Exhilarating Drain to keep the ultimate flowing. Treat Radiating Regeneration as your cheap spammable. We're only backbarring Arcasis, so make sure you drink your ultimate potions only while on your backbar. Also avoid using potions when you have your Negate up, as you want to make sure you're using Arcasis to get back your Negate when you don't have it. The proc condition for Eye of the Grasp is dealing critical damage. Although healers have very low damage output and we didn't build into crit, it doesn't matter as we don't need our crits to do damage, we just need them to happen. We don't need to crit all the time either, just once every 5 seconds ideally. To help get the crits, keep Hurricane up as it deals damage. It's very important that we light attack weave on this build to make sure Eye of the Grasp gets more chances to proc. Light attack weaving is done in the manner being shown in the video now. Light attack, immediately followed by an ability, and then a long pause. The long pause is the global cooldown of the skills, which is about 1 second. You can visualize it with the Combat Metronome add-on I have here on my screen. As you can see, the ultimate generation is quite fast when all of this is done correctly. In actual combat, it will be a bit slower depending on what's happening, as you'll have to adapt to incoming threats. Dropping a Negate and then following up with a Streak can be an effective way to pin an opponent in your Negate. Negating this rock 3, 2, 1.
I thought I could push like more weapon damage with like
huge.
Tommy or some shit.
Streak is our main survivability and footwork tool. This build is on the squishier side as it's prioritizing getting Negates as fast as possible, so kiting and making use of Streak is very important to survive. Ideally run this build in a decent group that knows how to pressure opponents so they cannot focus you down. Hardened Ward is our other survivability tool. Make sure to weave this skill in a lot, on cooldown if possible when being pressured or in a fight against a lot of opponents. Rotating between Hardened Ward and Vibrant Shroud can get you out of trouble when you're pressured. Unfortunately, Pearls requires us to keep Magicka our dominant resource, so playing skillfully will be important to survival as we cannot just dump all our attributes into health. It's a very fun build to play, but you can die easily if you're not careful, so make sure to practice a lot. General PvP survivability tips that apply to any class are in the second part of my Templar Troll Healer guide, so check that out if you need to know more about survivability. This build is focused on ult generation, so it doesn't perform as well as I'd like in the dueling tests I typically put my healers through. Although it does have some tankiness. It will work in PvP, you just need to be careful. Depending on situation, this could be a problem. However, I plan to run it in decent groups, so I know I won't have to worry about being focused by opponents as much, and I'll be able to hit them with Negate after Negate. A more tank-focused version of the build could be made by dropping Eye of the Grasp for a tank set and having the player focus building survivability as the priority with ultimate generation as the second priority. Whatever changes you make, you'll want your Magicka bar to remain the dominant resource. Big thanks to Presho, Carnito, Toygun, and Immortalized for helping me test the build. I'll link their YouTubes in the description if they have one, so be sure to check them out. My Negate. My Streak.
My lead.
Get him, yes! If you like the content I'm making, please let me know by considering subscribing to the channel.